All right, fight fans, we gotta talk about John Jones, because this whole situation is turning into one big mess. Tom Aspinall is fuming right now, and honestly, he has every reason to be. The UFC interim heavyweight champ has been waiting for his shot at John Jones, but instead of getting that unification fight, he's just sitting around with no opponent in sight. And now, he's saying what a lot of people have been thinking. Jones is ducking him, and was ducking Francis Ngannou too. Aspinall recently went on the Impulsive podcast and just laid it all out. He straight up called Jones out for conning the public and avoiding the biggest fights. And let's be real, there's some truth to that. Jones has always been smart about picking his fights, but now it's starting to look more like avoidance than strategy. And then there's the money issue. According to reports, John is asking for $30 to $50 million to even consider stepping into the octagon with Aspinall. Now, I'm not saying John doesn't deserve a fat paycheck. He's one of the greatest fighters ever. But when you start demanding insane numbers like that, it makes people wonder, does he actually want this fight? Or is this just his way of making sure it never happens? And let's not forget about Francis Ngannou. That fight was right there. It could have been the biggest heavyweight fight ever. But Jones never really seemed interested. Dana White blamed Francis for leaving the UFC. But come on, if John really wanted that fight, it would have happened. Instead, Ngannou went to PFL, and Jones ended up fighting Cyril Gane, a much safer matchup. So now here we are. John is recovering from an injury, and Aspinall is stuck in limbo, waiting for a fight that may never come. The UFC says negotiations are happening, but let's be honest, this fight should have been booked months ago. And that's why Aspinall is speaking up. He's frustrated. The fans are frustrated. And at this point, it's hard to blame them. But here's where things get interesting. Some people think John is just playing the game. He's done everything in this sport. He's beaten legends. He's been a champion for over a decade, and now he's just making smart business moves. Others, though, they say this is proof that John is ducking real threats. He knows Aspinall is a dangerous fight. He knows Ngannou could have knocked him out, and instead of risking that legacy, he's just waiting for the right opponent. So what's next? Does John finally step up and fight Aspinall? Does the UFC force the fight to happen? Or does John just ride off into the sunset without ever fighting the biggest threats in his division? What do you guys think? Is Jones being smart, or is he actually avoiding Aspinall and Ngannou? Drop your takes in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Combat Sports Insider for all the latest fight drama, breakdowns, and news.